Hey guys, myself I'm Yogeshwaran. I am currently pursuing my BE in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I am going to discuss a topic called corrosion. So, without wasting any time, let's dive into it. Now, let's see what do you mean by corrosion. Corrosion can be defined as the destruction or deterioration or the loss of metals or alloys by the surrounding environment through chemical or electrochemical reactions. Let's take an example for it. Rusting of iron, a reddish brown scale formation on iron objects, as you can see in the image present in the PPT. Now let's see the chemical reactions involved in it. Fe2 plus 2OH gives rise to FeOH twice. This is nothing but iron hydroxide. Then 4 molecules of iron hydroxide plus O2 plus 2H2O gives rise to Fe2O3.3H2O called hydrated ferric oxide, which is nothing but the rust. Then the second example is the green scale formed on the copper vessels. When the copper vessels are used for a prolonged amount of time, you may notice the green color on the surface of the copper vessels, which is also an example of corrosion. Now let's see the types of corrosion. First one, the dry corrosion, which is also called as chemical corrosion. Dry corrosion involves a direct attack of metal by dry gases, mainly through chemical reactions. It occurs by direct attacks of atmospheric gases such as oxygen, hydrogen, sulfide, halogens, and sulfur dioxide on the metal, forming oxide layer. Example, the attack of dry air or oxygen on a metal to form an oxide layer over the surface. The second one, it is wet corrosion, also called as electrochemical corrosion. Wet corrosion involves reactions in aqueous solution medium, as the name suggests. The conducting surface of the metal undergoes an electrochemical reaction with the moisture and oxygen present in the atmosphere. The rusting of iron is an example for it. The wet corrosion is explained on the basis of electrochemical theory. So, what do you mean by electrochemical theory of corrosion? Let's understand it by taking iron as an example. According to the electrochemical theory, when a metal such as iron is exposed to corrosive environment, following changes occur. A large number of tiny galvanic cells with anodic and cathodic regions are formed. At the anodic region, oxidation reaction takes place and the metal gets converted into its ion, liberating electrons. Consequently, metal undergoes corrosion at anodic region. At the cathodic region, reduction reaction takes place. Since the metal cannot be reduced further, metal atoms at the cathodic region are unaffected by the cathodic reaction. So let's see the chemical reactions which are occurring at the anode and cathode respectively. First, let's see at anode. At anode, oxidation reaction takes place. Keep that in mind. And in which the metal atoms are converted into the ions, liberating electrons. Since we are taking iron as an example, iron when at anode gives rise to Fe2 plus 2 electrons. At cathode, it is based on the nature of the environment. First, let's see in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, there are two different types. First, in acidic medium, the liberation of hydrogen takes place. 2H plus, here is the chemical reaction for it. 2H plus 2 electrons gives you H2. In neutral or alkali medium, hydroxide ions are formed with simultaneous liberation of hydrogen. 2 molecules of water plus 2 electrons gives you 2 molecules of hydroxide plus H2. Now let's see in the presence of oxygen. First one, in acidic medium. Here absorption of oxygen takes place. Here is the chemical reaction for it. 4H plus O2 plus 4 electrons gives rise to the product 2 molecules of water. Now the second one is in neutral or alkali medium. Here the hydroxide ions are formed. The chemical reaction for it is 2 molecules of hydrogen plus O2 plus 4 electrons gives rise to 4OH minus, which is nothing but 4 hydroxide ions. Now then the iron ions from the anode combine with the hydroxyl ions from cathode to form iron hydroxide on the surface between the anode and the cathode areas. The chemical reaction is Fe2 plus 2OH minus gives rise to FeOH twice, which is nothing but the iron hydroxide. Then the iron hydroxide further reacts with the oxygen and water, forming hydrated iron oxide, which is the corrosion product rust. The chemical reaction is 4FeOH twice, which is nothing but 4 molecules of iron hydroxide plus oxygen plus 2 molecules of water gives rise to 2 molecules of Fe2O3.3H2O, which is nothing but the rust. So now let's see the difference between the dry and the wet corrosion. First one, the dry corrosion. It occurs in the absence of moisture, whereas the wet corrosion, it occurs in the presence of conducting medium or aqueous medium. The second one, it involves direct attack of chemicals on the metal surface, whereas it involves the formation of electrochemical cells in the wet corrosion. Dry corrosion is a slow process, whereas wet corrosion is a rapid process. The corrosion products are produced at the site of corrosion in case of dry corrosion, whereas corrosion occurs at anode but the rust is deposited at cathode in the wet corrosion. The process of corrosion is uniform in dry corrosion, whereas it depends on the size of the anodic part of the metal in wet corrosion. So guys, we have reached the end of the discussion. So what we have learned till now is that what you mean by corrosion, what are the types of corrosion. Then in the types of corrosion, there are two types. First one is the dry corrosion, the second one is the wet corrosion. Then we saw what you mean by electrochemical theory of corrosion. And at last, we came across the difference between the dry and the wet corrosion. So guys, thank you for checking till the end. And don't forget to leave a like if you like this video and subscribe for more fun and as well as educational content, and don't forget to leave a comment if you have any feedback about this. Thank you guys for watching.